It's one of those things we all do, but almost never think about. Talking. It's this universal magic we all experience. So today, let's dive into that amazing journey, from a baby's first cry to a full-blown conversation. So that's the big question, right? How does that transformation even happen? Is a baby's mind just a blank slate, waiting for the world to write on it? Or are we born with some kind of language blueprint already built in? This is the classic nature versus nurture debate, but for language. All right, let's tackle theory number 1 first, the blank slate idea. This is the perspective that says language is all about nurture. It's something we learn entirely from the world around us. The big name behind this view was the famous psychologist B.F. Skinner, and his idea was kinda radical. He said language isn't special. It's just another behavior we learn, like riding a bike. For him, it all boiled down to 2 simple things: imitation and reinforcement. Basically, we copy the people around us and we get rewarded when we get it right. So how does this actually play out? Well, imagine a baby makes a random sound. Something like mama. A parent hears this, gets super excited, and goes, "Yes, mama," with a huge smile. That positive feedback, that's the reward. It tells the baby, hey, do that again. And slowly but surely, those random sounds get shaped into real words. And this doesn't just stop at single words. The theory goes that even complex sentences are just us copying what we hear. It's like kids are little recording devices. They listen to the phrases adults use, they mimic them, and they get positive feedback. Simple, right? Listen, copy, repeat. Okay, but here's where the whole theory kind of hits a wall. If kids are just little parrots, where do these weirdly creative mistakes come from? I mean, you've probably never said "I good" to the store or "look at my foots." So where on earth did they get that from? This one little question cracks open the door to a completely different explanation. And that brings us to the other side of the ring. Theory 2, the idea that we're not born with a blank slate, but with a pre-installed blueprint for language. This is the nature argument. So here we have the 2 heavyweights. On one side, you've got Skinner and the behaviorists saying it all comes from the environment. On the other, you have the nativist view, led by the linguist Noam Chomsky. He argued that no, we are born with this biological gift for language, and it just naturally develops as we grow. Chomsky's game-changing idea was something he called the language acquisition device, or LAD. The easiest way to think about it is like a pre-installed operating system for language in our brains. He said this LAD contains a universal grammar, a set of fundamental rules that all human languages share. All this system needs is to hear a language, and it automatically starts figuring out the specific rules for that language, whether it's English, Japanese, or Swahili. And this isn't just a guess. There's some pretty solid evidence. I mean, think about it. Kids all over the world, no matter the culture, learn to talk in the exact same stages, in the same order. It's this universal pattern. They also figure out super complex grammar without anyone ever sitting them down for a lesson. And maybe the biggest piece of evidence, our brains actually have specialized hardware, specific areas just for language. So we've got 2 really strong theories that totally contradict each other. One says it's all learned, the other says we're born with it. So who's right? Well, as it often turns out in science, maybe the truth is somewhere in between. The thinking today is that it's not a competition, it's a team up. Language seems to be what you get when our innate biological ability meets our social world. You need Chomsky's blueprint, yes, but you also need that crucial input from the people around us. It's not nature or nurture, it's nature plus nurture. This middle ground is called the Interactionist perspective, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. Our innate biology is programmed for language, but that program needs to be activated and shaped by our social experiences to really get going. So if the LAD is the engine, what's the fuel? Well, that's where something called the Language Acquisition Support System, or LAS, comes in. This was an idea from psychologist Jerome Bruner. The LAS is everything caregivers do. Talking to babies, playing peekaboo, reading stories. It's this social support system that gives the biological engine the input it needs to run. Okay, so we've got our theory, nature plus nurture. Now let's see how this actually plays out, in the real world during those first incredible years of a child's life. This progression is amazingly consistent everywhere. It starts with just crying and cooing. Then around 6 months, babbling starts. And get this, even deaf infants babble, which really points to that innate drive. By age 1, they're in the one-word stage, where a single word like juice can mean a whole sentence. Then, around 2, they start stringing words together in what we call telegraphic speech, like daddy eat. And before you know it, by 4 or 5, they're using complex sentences just like an adult. It's incredible. Now, let's circle back to those funny mistakes, like good. From this new perspective, they're not mistakes at all. They're actually signs of genius. A kid says good because their brain has figured out the rule for the past tense. You add ed. They just haven't learned the exceptions yet. It's proof their brain is actively analyzing and applying rules, not just copying. Same thing when they call a cat a doggy. Their brain is busy building categories to make sense of the world. So to bring this all home, let's end by taking a look at the physical proof of this language blueprint, inside our own heads. If you could peek inside the brain, you'd find actual physical hardware dedicated to language. We have these specialized centers. Broca's area is like the production factory, handling the mechanics of actually forming words and sentences. Then there's Wernicke's area, which is like the interpretation center, responsible for understanding what's being said. The fact that this hardware is just there, pre-built into our brains, is powerful evidence that we are born ready for language. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that language isn't something poured into an empty head, and it doesn't just magically appear out of thin air. It's this beautiful, complex dance between the biological gift we're born with and the rich social world we grow up in. And that leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If this incredible partnership between nature and nurture is the secret to language, what other amazing human abilities, things like creativity, or our sense of right and wrong, or even consciousness itself, might be built on that very same foundation? Something to think about.